I mean, it goes quick. It's going at the lowest quality. That's secret to it. No. We're about to protect. Sorry.
Cool. Curtis, this is my first presentation.
Woo!
We were just talking, and Mike, we were just talking about like Pi versus Arduino and like all the different projects. And Mike came to me, he's like, "Hey, do you want to do a talk?" I'm like, "I've never done Arduino, but let's do it." So I'm a Ruby developer. You can reach me here, these places. So we're going to be talking about just the introduction, basics. So after Mike kind of got with me, I didn't really know where to head. So it's kind of like a primer on like what I learned since he came to me. But first, more importantly, is my reaction when people haven't seen or don't like Game of Thrones. Okay, so what is Arduino? Too long didn't read. It's a microcontroller, mini computer. It's to make digital devices that can sense and control the physical world. So when I was getting into Arduino, really the first question was like, what's the difference between the Pi? So on Adafruit, they have a really good explanation. It's designed around a relatively low microcontroller. It gives the user complete control. You can use it through the IDE that they provide. There's also other things that are coming out that I'll go over that you can use as well. Gives you access to the hardware, the switches, anything you can connect to it. Regarding devices like the Pi, or if you've heard of the Beagle board, they function higher. They kind of have the integration there already, so video, audio, that kind of stuff. You're already able to run operating systems, so like Linux and Android are really popular. Through those OSs, then you can use software to actually interact with the peripherals available. So what can we do with Arduino? So this is my buddy's project that he's been working on. It's an oscillator. Right there you can see the actual Arduino. He has it set up so the beats match up with just the different frequencies with the LEDs. He now has it running to a water fountain. So it's a water fountain that goes up with the music. And the first time he showed me this is my reaction. Yeah. So my project that I attempted to tackle when Mike came to me, it was an ambient light sensor. Unfortunately, all the parts didn't get here in time, and me be able to go through the code. So basically, what it was is something similar to that. Go back one. Something similar to this. Basically, you just set up LEDs, string LEDs, around the back of your monitor, and then so the Arduino would read basically squares around the edges, and it would be attached to a specific LED, and it would just read the RGB and display that on the LED, so you have ambient light. There's the, it's on adafruit.com, there's the URL for, if you guys want to check that out, they have a lot of great resources.
Is that kernel second Cosmos?
I'm not sure. This is actually referenced in the Adafruit. So, could be. So because I don't have my project that I was supposed to build here, and I'm just kind of up here like this. Some other things you can do, home automation, that was actually the thing that piqued my interest in the Arduino. You kind of have the motion sensor and the light sensor that will attach to the Arduino board. You can have a bunch of different things, temperature, gas sensor. You can then have that connected to like a computer, your router, even to a Raspberry Pi to run it. And then you can run a lot of home automation, anywhere from locking doors, if your garage door is open or closed, what the temperature in your garage is, temperature in your house, actually able to control the HVAC in your house, even automated like lawn mowing. So that's something I definitely want to tackle once I get a little bit better. Robots. And then there's unique projects where the Arduino can be paired with things. So in this one, the guy's wearing a myoband, if you've ever heard of that, basically reads the muscle movement. and different hand motions. So he has this paired to the Arduino, and based on this, the signal that the mild band is sending out, it's lighting up the correct LED. So a little bit closer look. Here we have an Arduino board. So up in the top right, you'll have the USB. Here's the power, and then here's the actual microcontroller. Here's the power pins, analog pins, and up top you have the digital. Top left corner you have your reset button. Right about here, where the L is, right next to that little yellow thing, generally that's an LED that's on the board. It's usually referenced to the digital 13 pin. That's kind of what we'll be talking about a little bit more. So the Arduino board, here's a little bit more basic outline of it. So digital and analog pigs, that's really kind of like the basics that you need to know to really like get programming with it. So digital pins are either high or low. Basically that's when you see code, you reference it that way, but it's basically either 1 or 0, open, close, straight. They can be used as input or output. Analog is 1 or 0, and it's input only. So for example, if you're using the analog port and it's 8-bit, the 0 volts that are being pushed through will be read as 0. If you have all 5 volts being pushed through, it will be read as 255. So anything in between will be put to scale. So if your signal is at 2.5 volts, it will be about a reading of 127. So that's kind of like how you can get the ranges on some of the sensors, like the light sensor. Is the light all the way there or not the way halfway there? So some output examples. Here's a bunch of them. Anything from audio, visual, LCDs, lights, MIDI, Morse code, USB being a big one. Input examples, again, audio, buttons, lights, sensing, humidity, temperature, gas, images, human interface, GPS. There's a bunch more here, gyro, accelerometer, motion, touch. So the Arduino IDE, here's a snippet of code from the Arduino IDE. It's pretty basic setup. It's basically setting it up so that your light will just blink on and off for 1 second intervals. You'll have the pin mode, which is going to be a frequently used thing to reference the analog versus digital. So it's set to 13, so it's referencing that LED we talked about. And then down here in the void loop, it's just digital writing to that pin. And then, like we said, digital is either open or closed. So high is basically on, and then down below, it's off. So it just loops through that, just turning it on and off, and then you have the delay in between. Some of the tools that are coming out, Embryo is a tool that's up and coming. It's kind of a development tool. You can have it connected while you're actually in there editing the code, and it actually real time changes the code so you can actually see on the board. For the real stuff now, we have Arduino and Ruby. R2 is a library or a company that puts out a lot of robotics interfaces or libraries. They're the guys who wrote Cylon.js. They have R2, they have Ruby as well. So here's just a snippet of code from the R2 library using Ruby. Basically, you just require the library, set up the connection, specifying the Arduino, then you'd have the adapter and the port. This code is similar to the one we looked at before. You'd have the divide or the LED again on pin 13. This time we have a button set to pin 2, so that's something that they've set up. And then down below, you can see you just set work do on button push. You'd set the LED to on, and when it's released, it goes off. See, look at the fun we're having. Ruby.
Yeah.
So some of the links that I've referenced here is Audrina, obviously, a really good resource. Adafruit and SparkFun are two of my favorites. They have a lot of do-it-yourselves, that kind of stuff. They also have shops, so a place where you can get all your parts and lights and whatever else it may be. And end. Woo! Cool. Questions?
Yeah, I got a question. So getting the Arduino set up, like, should run like
like Linux or whatever, do you have to start with like machine code or anything like that?
So the Arduino IDE is based off the C libraries, so it's
Okay.
kind of like a
Yeah.
mix between like Objective C, C++.
Yeah.
It's kind of its own little take on it, but
That's
C.
cool.
Yeah.
Machine code's interesting.
Yeah. Anyone else? Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.